After I started my first business, I felt indestructible. And I had a few ideas for new products that I was convinced were going to be incredibly successful. And honestly, they sounded pretty good. I mean, I talked to my spouse and I talked to some friends and even a few colleagues that were in the business. And everyone said the same thing, the normal stuff. That's a great idea. You should totally do that. So I took the leap and I did. I spent 5 months building it. I spent real money getting it off the ground. And then when it was all done and I finally launched it, almost nobody booked it. Here's where I went wrong. I mistook the encouragement for demand. Now I know those are not the same thing. So today, I want to show you exactly how to tell the difference before you spend the time and the money finding out the hard way like I did. Hi, I'm Matt. I've spent over 25 years building companies as a serial entrepreneur and helping small business owners with their day-to-day operational challenges. At Beyond BST, we help entrepreneurs move from idea to first dollar and beyond. Welcome to the channel. Quick question before we dive in. Have you ever gotten really excited about a business idea and then just talked yourself out of it before you even tested it? I'd like to know down in the comments. I'm always curious where you stand. Oh, and if you caught Monday's episode, we walked through 5 specific places where real business ideas are hiding in plain sight. If you haven't seen that one yet, go back and watch it. It's the first half of what we're doing this week. Today is step 2. Today is where we take whatever idea you're sitting on, whether you found it on Monday or you've been carrying it around for years, and we give it a little basic pressure test. We're going to walk through 5 questions that will tell you whether an idea is even worth pursuing or whether it's time to keep looking for a better one. All right, enough talk. Let's get into it. The first question almost sounds too simple. Is someone already paying for this? Not could they, are they right now? And here's why this matters. A lot of first-time entrepreneurs see competition as a threat, as a reason not to go forward. They look up their idea. They find 3 other businesses doing it, and they think, it's already been done. I'm too late. But that's backwards. Competition is not a threat. Competition is really market confirmation. It means the market exists. It means people are already spending money on this problem. If you search for your idea and find absolutely nothing, no competitors, no alternatives, no one solving it, to me, that's a warning sign. Either the market doesn't exist, you haven't looked hard enough, or you are actually the first one to have the idea. And if that's the case, that means you have to teach your customers that they need this. That's a potentially long and complicated process. Either way, you need to dig before you build. The second question is harder. Will they pay you specifically? This is where a lot of ideas run into trouble. Let's say the market exists, but that doesn't automatically mean there's a place in it for you. So here's the test. Go find 5 people who would be your ideal customers. The trick here, it can't be friends, it can't be family. We're looking for strangers, or at least near strangers, who actually have the problem that you're solving, and ask them directly. If I offered you this at this price, would you buy it? And then do nothing. Be quiet. Don't rush them. Don't fill the silence or soften the question, because sometimes that long, awkward silence tells you everything you need to know. If 5 people say yes without hesitation, that's a signal. If 5 people say, well, maybe, it depends, also a signal. Listen to both and use that information to further analyze the idea. The third question is one that kills more ideas than anything else. Can you actually deliver this at a profit? Not just generate revenue, profit. This is where the math has to work. And a lot of people skip this step entirely because, they're so excited about the idea and they don't want the numbers to get in the way. That's what I did. Don't do that. Here's the basic pressure test. What does it cost you to deliver this? Fully loaded. We're talking time and materials and overhead. And don't forget your own labor, everything that goes into it. And then what will people actually pay for it? Is there a real margin between those two numbers? And maybe even more critically, does that margin hold as you grow? Because some businesses look profitable at a small scale when you can do everything, but they'll break the moment you really try to expand it. The math's not going to lie. So run it before you commit. All right. We're halfway through the 5 questions. And if you're still with me, I want to make sure you get the last 2 because they're the ones most people never ask. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, because this is the kind of real life business content I put out every Monday and Thursday at noon Eastern. The 4th question is one I use every single time I evaluate a business idea, my own or someone else's. What's going to break it? This is what some people call a pre-mortem. Instead of asking, how do I make this succeed? Ask yourself, what would have to be true for this to completely fail? And then answer it honestly. What if your key supplier disappeared? What if a bigger competitor moves into your space? What if customer acquisition costs twice as much as you planned? What if the one client who represents 80% of your revenue just walks away? Now, I'm not telling you to kill every idea with worst case scenario thinking. What I'm telling you is to stress test it. Because if you can't answer those questions, or at least figure it out along the way, if the idea falls apart the moment you push on it, you haven't found a business yet. You've just found a theory. The ones that hold up under that kind of pressure, those are the ones worth building. All right, the 5th question pulls everything we talked about all together. Is what you're hearing a signal or just background noise? Here's the difference. Noise is your brother-in-law saying, great idea, go for it. Signal is a potential customer saying, when can I sign up? Here's my email. Noise is a LinkedIn poll where 200 strangers click yes in 5 seconds. A signal is someone pulling out their credit card or agreeing to a pilot or maybe asking you about pricing before you even mentioned it. The goal of this whole thing, it's a test to, it's not to collect encouragement. Remember that. The goal is to find evidence, real behavioral evidence that the market out there wants what you're building. Encouragement feels great, and we all need some. But evidence builds businesses. Let me show you what that actually looks like. When I started my first company, I ordered my equipment, and it had 60 days before it shipped. I also had a 30-day out clause. So in that first month, I started marketing hard. I sent hundreds of postcards to local businesses trying to pre-sell my service. And then I sent them again a few weeks later. And what happened? Well, it worked. I was able to pre-sell my services to a few businesses, deposit included, before I even received the equipment. That's not encouragement. That's not noise. That's a clear signal. So let's wrap it up. 5 questions to pressure test any business idea. 1, is someone already paying for this? 2, will they pay you specifically? 3, can you deliver it at a profit? 4, what's going to break it? And 5, are you hearing signal or are you hearing noise? And after all of that, here's the most important part. You don't need all 5 answers to move ahead, to be perfect. But you do need to ask all 5 questions and answer them honestly. Because the goal right now isn't to find a reason to do it or a reason to kill it. The goal is clarity. And that's not failure. It's just clarity. And that's how you get to your first dollar. Next week, we're starting a new series. If you're 40 or 50 or even older and thinking about starting a business for the first time, you are not going to want to miss Monday. So come back Monday at noon for that episode. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please like and give me a subscribe and share it with your friends. Let me know in the comments too. I look to the comments all the time to find new ideas for new episodes. Now, take a breath. You've got this. All right. What's next?